bag in the cup, add it up. Put my friends in the truck, add it up. If you're thinking on me now, that's enough. If you're thinking on me now, that's enough. Put the bag in the cup, add it up. Put my friends in the truck, add it up. If you're thinking on me now, that's enough. If you're thinking on me now, that's enough.
DC, what you contribute to my consciousness? Voices feeling so ominous. I can't place a thing for you. They mark it out as anonymous. I would shit the whole continent. It can help you round with some confidence. Thinking about all the consequence. Gotta try to break what's monotonous.
How could I be better? I paid the price in full just to clear the record. Rewound just to fast forward on the A track.
Following the assault last week at the hands of the Balor Club, I have been left with only one option as for what to do in regards to our SummerSlam main event. Now, Aleister Black hasn't shown up since I looked for a contender for his championship, and therefore I don't see why it should matter to him who his challenger is. As for the club, they've done a great job last week at taking out the top contender for that championship for their leader, and tonight I will reward them by giving them a tag team title match against your champions Edge and Christian. And now as for Finn Balor, the leader of the club, he is the only suitable replacement I have found to fit that position to challenge Aleister Black this Sunday at SummerSlam. So as of right now, Adrian Neville is too medically unfit to compete in that match, and Finn Balor will be taking his spot. We will also see in the main event of Smackdown here tonight, Asuka defend her Smackdown Live Women's Championship against Sasha Banks.
Catastrophic, way to stop it. Man, I wish I had a rocket. Wish I ain't feel microscopic. Wish my thoughts was telepathic, but instead I'm always rapping. Love rapping, that is my girlfriend. Every toe is like a cat. Just kidding, I love you.
Keith Lee, the man of the hour, the king of the ring, intelligence and power, the best versus the greatest. He'll make you famous. One spirit bomb and your whole life changes. Bask in my glory, you all know the story. Started on the football field, but wanted more. See, the full contact made me react to anyone and everyone, and that's a known fact. From the top rope, I reign supreme. I'm worse than any nightmare, exorcism, a wet dream. Respect to those who try to step in the ring, but when the bell sounds, catch a beat down like Rodney King.
There's some soldiers in here and some warriors too. Pay respect to all with a solid salute. It's time to reap what you sow. We'll take it down to ground zero. There's some soldiers in here and some warriors.
We heard Triple H somewhat rewarding the bounty that he was given the club, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, as they will receive a tag team match later tonight with the opportunity for them to win the championships. Now an overhead belly-to-belly suplex from the Limitless one, Keith Lee, as two outstanding moonsault from the big man, as two of SmackDown Live's top talents looking to make a name for themselves here tonight and looking to capitalize on the spotlight here on the go-home edition of Tuesday Night SmackDown. Now Keith Lee looking to take the advantage from behind Travis Banks, but Travis Banks able to capture Keith Lee with that perfect plex, driving Keith Lee onto the canvas, but missing that back kick as the Kiwi Buzzsaw now being dropped from a back suplex position from Keith Lee. Keith Lee looking to make short work of the Kiwi Buzzsaw here tonight as he is caught by Travis Banks going in for that kick and gets met with a chop, but it is not enough to level back Keith Lee, as Keith Lee now continuing the onslaught, sending Travis Banks into the corner, but now being countered with an Irish whip of his own into the corner with a leaping forearm strike, as Travis Banks now with the clear advantage. Keith Lee being positioned in the corner, now being sent back into the corner for a second time, as Travis Banks getting another leaping forearm strike, following it up with a cannonball senton over in the corner, as Travis Banks now looking to get Keith Lee back up to his feet. The Limitless one we saw defeating the Edgeheads the other week here on SmackDown in 2-on-1 competition. Now yet another fisherman suplex from the Kiwi Terminator. And Travis Banks now looking to turn over Keith Lee and go for that Lion's Clutch submission, as he has Keith Lee locked in the middle of the ring in that Lion's Clutch arm trapped crossface. But Keith Lee now gonna fight out of it and send Travis Banks right off of him with a knee to the back of the head and a forearm strike. The fist part right across the face of Travis Banks. A dropkick now, taking Keith Lee staggered back. But now Keith Lee reversing that opportunity from Travis Banks, lifting Travis Banks up in that military press spine buster position, taking Travis Banks from the heavens, taking him all the way down and drilling him into that canvas now, as Keith Lee kicking the gut of Travis Banks, looking for that last ride sit-out powerbomb, as he's going to go for it here. The Spirit Bomb on Travis Banks, and that is going to keep the Kiwi Buzzsaw down for only a count of two, as Travis Banks able to get his shoulder up miraculously out of that cover. And now a splash from Keith Lee, as he is maintaining the advantage here in this match over Travis Banks. Travis Banks now getting behind Keith Lee and going for a huge tiger suplex, bridging over, but Keith Lee able to get his feet up on the ropes here. Both men looking to solidify their place in Television Championship or even SmackDown Live World Championship contention. But you got to think that both men here looking to climb up the ranks, as Travis Banks now positioning Keith Lee in the corner, looking to go across the ring and onto the ropes, going for the coast-to-coast drop kick from the top rope across the ring. The Kiwi Buzzsaw, a house of fire here tonight, as he is fired up against the much bigger opponent, Keith Lee. Travis Banks going to have to use his resilient and undying attitude here tonight, as he is missing a lariat there from Keith Lee, hitting him with a spine buster. And now waiting for Keith Lee to reposition himself in the corner, as the Kiwi Terminator now going to run in with yet another cannonball senton into Keith Lee here. Despite the disadvantage of being put in a match where he has a clear disadvantage against Keith Lee, Travis Banks has proved himself here tonight as he gets planted with yet another military press. Spine buster from the Limitless Keith Lee. And now Keith Lee looking to wake up Travis Banks, but he has caught that foot as Keith Lee looking to come in. Now Travis Banks going to position Keith Lee along those ropes here, holding himself up with those ropes as Travis Banks now with a huge crushing forearm smash sends Keith Lee to the outside, and now going for a lope con hello, but it's caught on his way in by Keith Lee as Travis Banks, we see him go for those three tope suicidas back to back. That time being cut off by Keith Lee, and now catching a deadlift gut wrench suplex on the outside, sending Travis Banks flying, followed by a knee drop to the back of Travis Banks' neck, and stomping on the arm as Keith Lee now getting the advantage on the outside here. Following that lope suicida opportunity from Travis Banks. Both men gonna have to watch the ref's count here, as the ref getting up to a count now of 6 or 7, I believe. Keith Lee gonna send Travis Banks back inside the ring at a count of 8, and now the Limitless Keith Lee gonna follow him back to the inside as well, looking for the cover here on Travis Banks in the middle of the ring after the damage he's taken on the outside, but Travis Banks able to get his shoulder up at a count of 2 and kick out of Keith Lee. But now Keith Lee gonna look to go high risk now from the top rope onto Travis Banks, prone in the middle of the ring, and he misses a huge moonsault that he was looking to hit on Travis Banks. Travis Banks now targeting the tree trunk like legs of Keith Lee. Now Travis Banks gonna continue those tope suicidas through the ropes as he connects with Keith Lee right in front of our commentary table here. As I said earlier, he likes to go for these in threes, go for the 3 tope suicidas, and that's exactly what Travis Banks is calling for here on the inside of the ring as he looks to charge up for yet another tope suicida, but he just fakes it. And now going through the ropes, but crashing into our commentary table for the 3rd tope suicida from Travis Banks. Keith Lee now following that crash, coming through the ropes, and it is an overhead belly to belly, and Travis Banks, I believe, clipping his head on our announce table here right in front of me. But Travis Banks now gonna look to get back inside the ring before the ref can solidify his count even more. The Travis Banks hitting a leaping forearm strike off of the apron there, it appears. I'm not entirely sure what happened there. Tough to follow that action when Travis Banks is teleporting back to the inside of the ring, as now Travis Banks sending Keith Lee into the corner here, gonna look for a slice of heaven as he comes off the second ropes with the huge single leg drop kick across the face of Keith Lee. That spinning kick from the corner. Now Travis Banks calling Keith Lee back up to his feet, gonna target that leg yet again with a running shin kick, taking down Limitless. As now Travis Banks lifting Keith Lee back up to his feet, gonna look to capture him up for the King Crusher. Now collecting himself and going for the cover here on Keith Lee, but Keith Lee getting his shoulder up at a count of 2 following the Key Crusher. We've also saw the Lions clutch in this match, so Travis Banks probably wondering what he's got to do to put away Keith Lee here tonight, as Keith Lee now having to bask in the glory of Travis Banks as the Kiwi Terminator now scouting Keith Lee as he gets back up to his feet, sending Keith Lee back off the ropes. Here is Travis Banks, and being met with a forearm, but rebounding off with a huge lariat, taking down Limitless Keith Lee, as now Travis Banks lifting Keith Lee back to his feet and sending Keith into the corner here, and following him over is met with a back elbow to the face of Travis Banks, as Keith Lee now gonna go for ground 0 jackhammer on the Kiwi Terminator, gonna go for the terminating pinfall here, and he gets the 3 count on Travis Banks here, solidifying Keith Lee in position for a championship opportunity, whether he decides to go for the Smackdown Live championship or for that television championship will be determined in the fallout of SummerSlam. But that was our opening matchup here tonight on Smackdown Live between 2 hungry contenders here in the singles division on SmackDown.
Constant quest to be more. Are you ready for a war? Business, gym, or the ring? Pay attention, cause I swore to always aim high. Shooting for the stars. Vision so clear that I can see Mars. From the clotheslines to the drop kicks. Aerial tech.
I'm changing every day.
I just wanna know
where the party at.
I just wanna know
24/7 thinking You think you know me, you think you know me, you think you know me, you think you know me.
This match, of course, being sanctioned by our general manager, Triple H, in the opening segment of this show as somewhat of a reward for taking out Adrian Neville. The club here are receiving a tag team opportunity as Finn Balor will receive a world championship shot at Aleister Black come Sunday despite losing to Adrian Neville on Smackdown Live 2 weeks ago. Now the club fired up in one corner as we see Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows looking to challenge to win their first tag team championships here in Universe mode from some hungry champions who have held that championship for only about 40 days, being the ENC connection, Edge and Christian. Both two men proud to represent their brand here on SmackDown Live, not competing for those tag team championships after WrestleMania because they didn't have those championships back then. The Bar moving over to SmackDown as part of the brand split, picking up those SmackDown Live tag team championships from the Revival and then losing them to ENC at Money in the Bank. And now Christian gonna look to start off this match with Luke Gallows as he now salutes the peers in attendance, the peeps here to see Christian, and now Christian sending him back into friendly territory as Luke Gallows now gonna be sent off the ropes by ENC and lifted up with a huge back body drop. Both men, it's gonna take both men's strength to lift up the big man being Gallows here tonight, and an elbow drop from a standing position is what Edge decides to go for here. Now gonna look for that triangle choke and pulling down on that leg of Luke Gallows, stretching him out as the club look in trouble here. Luke Gallows, he's not tapping on his leg, just looking for a way to get out of that as a small package is gonna get Edge to release that pressure on that hold that he had Luke Gallows in there, and now a crushing strike to the gut takes Edge back as now Luke Gallows sending Edge into the corner looking for a tag team with Carl Anderson, but is met with a huge strike to the face, and now Edge sending Carl Anderson off of the apron. These two men can't be happy about defending their championship. A downward spiral onto Luke Gallows now from Edge, and now Edge looking to go up to the second rope as Carl Anderson recovers on the outside, but Edge gonna hit A double axe handle takedown on Luke Gallows. In the meantime, Carl Anderson now going to grab Edge from the outside, but Luke Gallows isn't going to be able to take the advantage following that axe handle off the second rope. Now Edge going to look to take Carl Anderson down, but he's met with a huge forearm smash as Luke Gallows now going to get the tag in to Carl Anderson. Edge looking to knock him off the apron, but Carl Anderson now firing back on Edge, missing that lariat takedown, and a downward spiral now for Carl Anderson. Edge dishing out that maneuver to both members of the club. Interesting that the club is being rewarded for taking out Adrian Neville, but potentially that's something they've worked out with GM Triple H, as Edge holding Carl Anderson down now. Christian firing up off the ropes with a huge double splash combination with that leg drop from Edge. Both men at the standing position in the middle of the ring, and now Christian, taunting in the corner, is cut off short by Carl Anderson. But Christian maintaining the advantage with a huge drop kick in the middle of the ring, able to level the machine gun, and now a stomp to the chest of Carl Anderson. You got to think that the club, if they could come up successful here tonight, and Finn Balor being successful this weekend at SummerSlam, you got to think the Balor Club is going to be very happy with their spoils. Come the end of this weekend, they will be holding 2/4 of the gold here on SmackDown. If they could do just that, now a sit-out back mat slam from Christian. The Oscar drop, taking down Carl Anderson for a count of 1. And now Christian looking to get Edge back in this matchup, as the two men here going to work together on Carl Anderson, lifting him up in a fireman's carry sit-out position. And Carl Anderson now, as you can see, just rolling around on the floor, very uncomfortable after that landing. And how can you not be? Edge now scouting something from the corner. This doesn't look good for the machine gun Carl Anderson, as Edge running off the ropes with the beauty shot spinning wheel kick. We thought he was scouting the spear over in the corner just then. Might be a little early in this match, but now a sit-out Oscar mat slam from Edge is going to keep Carl Anderson down here for a count of 2, as both men going for that maneuver. Edge now taunting the machine gun over in the corner, as he's going to knock down Luke Gallows for yet another time, and scout Carl Anderson now from the corner, as Edge going for that short range. Oh, I thought he would be going for the spear yet again, but he has the Northern Light suplex on Carl Anderson instead. Now going to send him crashing into the corner where his partner Christian is, and he's going to look to tag in Christian here, but it's reversed by Carl Anderson. Christian going to tag himself in, as Edge now recovering in the corner. Christian, the legal man, getting inside with Carl Anderson. Christian missing that huge drop kick, as Carl Anderson now leveling Christian as he was looking to take out Edge in the corner, providing the team of E&C with some safeguard, as Christian now sending Carl Anderson into the corner, and the two going to send Carl Anderson off the ropes with a spear and a clothesline takedown in collision, as Christian and Edge both connecting with Carl Anderson. Edge now rebounding off the ropes and missing the dropkick to the back of the head of Carl Anderson. Carl Anderson going to tag in his partner Luke Gallows here, as Luke Gallows going to look to take the work to Christian and Edge, but Edge already firing up against Luke Gallows with a Northern Lights suplex and a combination of strikes, sending Carl Anderson now off of the apron, as Edge going to look to taunt Luke Gallows from the corner here. This time, I believe, going for the spear as he takes down Luke Gallows. Can the tag team champions retain their championship right now? And they do successfully over the bar. A very game challengers here tonight, being the Bar, looking to capitalize on all their momentum following their attack on Adrian Neville last week, unsuccessful in dethroning the tag team champions of Edge and Christian. We will see how the third member of the Balor Club, the leader Finn Balor, will do this weekend when he takes on Aleister Black for the SmackDown Live Championship. But now it's time for our main event.
attribute to my consciousness. Voices feeling so ominous. I can't place a pin for you. They mark it out as anonymous. I would ship the whole continent if it help you round with some confidence. Thinking about all the consequence. Gotta try to break what's monotonous.
How could I be better? I paid the price in full just to clear the record. Rewound just to fast forward. On the A track I stole from my grandmama.
Catastrophic, way to stop it. Man, I wish I had a rocket. Wish I ain't built microscopic. Was my thoughts was.
And here we have it in the main event of our go home to SummerSlam show here on Smackdown Live. We have the Women's Championship being defended in the main event as the longest reigning champion, Asuka, holding that championship for 190 days now, winning that championship from Paige all the way back, I believe, the Royal Rumble. It may have been Survivor Series. It was quite some time ago last year, but the only woman in Universe mode to hold that championship, not quite that championship, but a women's championship, as long as her, is Ember Moon, the current champion over on Raw, who will be defending this week. Come SummerSlam, she is defending against Tenille Dashwood. But Triple H found a way that we could get all our championships defended in 1 week, as we see the Women's Championship and the Tag Team Championships both being decided here tonight. The Women's Champion Asuka set to go one-on-one with the challenger, the Boss, Sasha Banks. As we are going to start our action here in the main event of SmackDown Live, and a forearm smash, 2 from the Boss, show that Sasha Banks may be ready for Asuka, but Asuka going to quickly answer back with a backdrop suplex, flipped out by Sasha Banks, and Sasha Banks pulling the hair now of Asuka. The underhanded tactics from the Boss are going to be utilized in this match if Sasha Banks wants to win that championship. And now a seated dropkick to the back. And you know that Sasha Banks wants to win that championship. She's always being upstaged by Charlotte, and Charlotte being the first woman to hold this championship on Smackdown Live. Being the Women's Championship, of course. And now Asuka looking to meet Sasha Banks as she comes out of the corner, wrenching back on that arm and dropping it right over the shoulder. As now Sasha Banks being sent off the ropes by Asuka and met with a kitchen sink knee strike as Sasha Banks came in. And a stomp to the back of the head keeps Sasha Banks down. As Asuka now being reversed by Sasha. And Sasha looking to keep the advantage here. She sends Asuka into the corner here. Asuka face first into the corner as the boss now gloating over by the Empress of Tomorrow. Following it up with a suplex here. And you know, as they say, if there's a spotlight, Sasha Banks is looking for it. And if you have a back, Sasha Banks is willing to stab it. She's got a knife. As now Asuka, the one to go to the work on her back as she goes for that final cut over in the corner, coming down across the chest and kicking the back of Sasha Banks in the process. As now the submission specialist Asuka looking to go for that warm-up roundhouse kick, but Sasha Banks with a fury of strikes sends Asuka into the ropes, and now dropping that foot across Asuka as she was draped along those ropes. Sasha Banks now going to the outside, electing to get back up onto the apron here as she is just taunting the Empress from the outside. Now a slap to the inside from Sasha, showing absolute disrespect to Asuka, our champion. But now Sasha Banks being stuck up on the top rope as Asuka looking to capitalize on this opportunity from an avalanche position. She's going to look to get Sasha Banks up, and now she's holding her in a stalling suplex, but the knee to the top of the head takes Asuka down. Sasha Banks now with the advantage on the apron. As she gets back to the inside, kicks Asuka in the gut, is going to look to tie her up in this neck breaker, the bankrupt neck breaker, taking down Asuka. And now Sasha Banks looking to go up to the top rope and a salute to her hero, Eddie Guerrero, looking for that frog splash. As Asuka now getting back up to her feet here. Sasha Banks on the top rope is missing that punch and gets caught by Asuka now, as Asuka looking to meet her on that top rope yet again. We saw her go for that superplex just a few minutes back, coming up unsuccessful, but this time sending Sasha Banks flying into the middle of the canvas, in the middle of the ring. And now the boss just being torn apart by the Empress, and now smashing that arm against the canvas is Asuka. As now the Empress of Tomorrow looking to capitalize on the boss here with a snapmare, missing that opportunity, but Sasha Banks gonna jump at the opportunity to go for a Luthez press here, now colliding with those fists onto the face of Asuka. You know how badly Sasha Banks wants that championship, and she's showing it here in her fight here tonight. Both women earning the main event spot for everything that they have done for the women's division and the women's revolution in general. Now a neck breaker that kept Asuka down as she gets back to her feet and is met with a second rope dropkick from Sasha Banks here. As Sasha Banks now continuing to work on that back of Asuka, and if she wants to wrench back on the bank statement, you know that she's going to want to be going for that maneuver. Getting behind now with a Russian leg sweep is Sasha Banks. Now kick to the gut, and the boss yet again just taunting Asuka here in this match. Sasha's mouth might end up being what costs her here the championship here tonight against Asuka. As Asuka now a house of fire, looking to fire up against Sasha Banks here with a knee to the face. And now Sasha Banks sending her to the outside onto the apron. Gonna bring her back inside now for a quick rope hung neck breaker as she drops Asuka with the neck breaker off of the second rope. Calling Asuka back up to her feet here as Sasha Banks having the clear momentum advantage in this matchup, going up to the shoulders of Asuka and turning her around with a huge Frankensteiner. Turning her around into a Hurricane Rana. She is risking a powerbomb opportunity from Asuka. Is Alexa Bliss, and now Alexa Bliss gonna taunt Asuka as she's hung up along those ropes, and now gonna look to send the Empress to the outside here as Asuka being sent, driven to the outside of the ring. Sasha Banks now in the middle of the ring, looking to fire up, waiting for Asuka to get back to her feet as she's going to rebound off the ropes here and go for a tope suicida to the outside onto Asuka here in our main event on Smackdown Live for the Women's Championship. We see Sasha Banks risking everything she has to dive through those ropes and look to capitalize on this opportunity to win that championship from Asuka and be the 5th woman here on Smackdown Live to hold that championship. Excuse me, 4th woman, but the 5th title reign, as Paige has held that championship on 2 occasions, enumerating her reign to about 170 days. Asuka recently surpassing that, and that is what placed her at the longest reigning champion, a rope hung Meteora now on the 2nd ropes as Asuka gets crashed into from Sasha Banks with those rope hung Meteora. And now Sasha Banks showing that she has made quick work of Asuka here in this match. Asuka now laid out in the middle of the ring, gonna wait for Asuka to get back up to her feet is Sasha Banks, as she is going to dive from the top rope, hitting a seated senton onto Asuka. And now Asuka leveled down here. Sasha Banks going to have to go for a bank statement if she's going to want to put away Asuka here in this match. A forearm smash. And now the champion looking to roll up Sasha Banks here. Going for the cover here. 1, 2, and 3. And a huge victory for Asuka here tonight, as she holds down that SmackDown Women's Championship, solidifying her reign as the longest reigning champion here on SmackDown Live. Don't forget to join me this weekend as we will see the pay-per-view of SummerSlam, the biggest party of the summer, here in Universe mode.